Okay, so have you ever heard of a single company trying to completely rewrite the economic future of an entire nation? It sounds kind of nuts, right? Well, today we're diving into something called the VietDak Manifesto, and it's exactly that. Part business plan, part blueprint for a country. Let's get into it.
So here's a problem a lot of developing countries run into. It's kind of like a trap. You've got all these amazing natural resources, right? Think coffee, tea, rice, but you end up just selling the raw stuff for cheap. And then you have to turn around and buy back expensive finished products made from your own resources. It's this cycle that can really hold a country's economy back for a long, long time.
But here's the kicker. What if one single company stepped up and said, hey, we've got the answer, and not just some vague idea, but a detailed 10-year plan to do more than just make money. We're talking about a blueprint to fundamentally change the entire economic engine of a country right from the ground up.
All right, so this gets us right to the heart of their manifesto. And let me tell you, this is not your typical corporate vision. We're talking way beyond quarterly profits. This is about nation building. The whole game plan is to stop just selling raw stuff and start creating, and more importantly, keeping real, tangible value inside the country. And they put it right there in their mission statement, black and white. It says they want to upgrade the national economic structure from exporting raw materials to exporting the value of knowledge and technology. Now that might sound like a bunch of corporate jargon, but it's not. It's basically a promise. A promise to go from selling, say, a bag of coffee beans to selling world-famous coffee brands, cutting-edge tech, and even life-saving medicines. Okay, so how are they going to pull off something so massive? Well, the whole thing stands on three big pillars, and the cool part is they all work together. First, you take farming and you supercharge it, making way more valuable products. Second, you take the waste from all that farming and turn it into energy and stuff for healthcare, making the country more self-sufficient. And third, you wrap it all up in a sustainable, circular model so it's not just a flash in the pan. See how they feed into each other? It's pretty clever. So the how behind all this is probably the most radical part. Their big idea is to build what they call an all-in-one ecosystem, basically a totally self-contained economic bubble. And believe me, this is not how most businesses do things.
Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you grow some crops. Instead of throwing away the leftover stalks and leaves, you use them to create your own energy. That energy then powers your factories, which take the crops and turn them into super valuable ingredients for medicine. Oh, and the money to build all this? It comes from their own internal fund, not a bank. It's this perfect closed loop where nothing is wasted and all the value stays inside. It's all about efficiency.
So their whole value chain is basically a four-step ladder. Step one, you control the raw materials from the start. But here's the key. You don't stop there like everyone else. Step two, you process it deeply. Step three, you pull out the really valuable stuff for pharma and medicine. And finally, step four, you slap your own brand on it and sell it to the world. By owning every single step of that ladder, they make sure none of the profit gets lost along the way. And when you put this model next to a traditional company, man, the difference is night and day. Most businesses are fragmented. VietDak is all in one. Most are tied to the power grid and at the mercy of banks. VietDak wants to generate its own power and fund its own growth. It's really a system built to control its own destiny, from top to bottom.
Okay, a big vision is great, but it's just a dream without a solid plan, right? So let's look at their 10-year roadmap. This is where the rubber meets the road, breaking this giant ambition down into actual, manageable steps.
So they've mapped this all out over 10 years, split into 3 phases. It's a classic crawl, walk, run approach. From 2025 to 2027, they're in the crawl phase, just building the foundation, the factories and supply zones. Then, from 2028 to 2031, they start to walk, pushing into big markets like the EU and the US. Finally, from 2032 to 2035, it's the run phase. This is where they go for total integration, energy self-sufficiency, and launch those big global brands. It's patient, it's methodical.
Of course, an ambitious plan like this needs the money to back it up. So now, let's follow the money. We're going to look at their financial blueprint to see how this whole thing is supposed to pay for itself and eventually turn a massive profit.
So if you look at the beginning, in phase 1, their income stream looks, well, pretty normal. Almost half of it comes from just exporting raw farm goods, the very thing they want to get away from. But, and this is super important, that's the point. They're using that initial low-profit business to generate the cash they need to build the next business. They're funding the revolution themselves.
But now, let's fast forward 10 years to phase 3. Look at that. The whole model is flipped on its head. Suddenly, selling raw stuff is just a small piece of the pie. The big money makers are now deep processing and pharmaceuticals. This right here, this shift, this is the entire strategy in a single picture. It's the payoff. And let's zoom in on this one number because it's a huge deal. They're targeting 60 to 70% energy self-sufficiency. Now, this isn't just about being green, even though that's great. This is a power move. It's about protecting themselves from crazy energy prices and supply chain chaos. It's about being in control. It's about pure strategic independence.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. What's the ultimate pitch here? What's the big takeaway? Because it's pretty clear VietDak isn't just trying to sell stocks to investors. They're trying to sell a whole new future to an entire country.
And their manifesto wraps up with these huge national commitments. We're not just talking about shareholder returns here. They're promising an ecosystem of good, high-quality jobs, a real boost to the national GDP from high-value exports, a truly green economy, and maybe most importantly, strengthening national security by making sure the country can feed itself, power itself, and heal itself. This is the real why behind the whole grand plan.
Which leaves us with one massive, lingering question. Is this whole thing, this vertically integrated, nation-building model, is this the blueprint? Is this how developing nations finally break free from that raw materials trap? Or is it just a bet that's gotten too big to fail? A concentration of power and ambition that's so huge, it's all or nothing. I guess we'll find out over the next 10 years.